Most of us grow up hearing the same money advice. Save more, avoid debt, work hard, buy a house. It sounds responsible. It sounds safe. It sounds like the right way to build a stable life. But here's the problem. A lot of this advice was built for a world that doesn't exist anymore. And if you're still following these rules today, you might be doing everything right and still falling behind. Because the rules of money have changed. Quietly, gradually, completely. And today we're breaking down 8 money rules that are outdated now and what actually works instead. The first rule is simple. Save as much as possible. You've heard this your whole life. Save money, build a cushion, be responsible. And yes, saving is important, but saving alone will not make you rich anymore. Here's why. The money sitting in your savings account is not really growing. In fact, it's slowly losing value over time because of something called inflation. Prices go up, your money stays the same. So even if your bank balance looks stable, your purchasing power is shrinking. 10 years ago, a certain amount of money could buy you a lot more than it can today. In 10 years from now, it will buy even less. So if your strategy is only to save, you're quietly moving backwards. What works now is simple. Saving is just the starting point. You need to invest. You need your money to grow, because in today's world, money that doesn't grow disappears. The second rule is avoid all debt. Debt has always been seen as something dangerous, something to stay away from. And in many cases, that's true. But not all debt is the same. There is bad debt, and there is useful debt. Bad debt is when you borrow money for things that lose value. Expensive gadgets, impulse purchases, lifestyle upgrades you don't really need. But useful debt is different. It's when you borrow to build something that can grow. That could be education, a skill, a business, or even an investment. Even large companies like Apple Inc. use debt strategically to grow faster. So the real rule is not avoid all debt, it's understand debt. Use it carefully, use it intentionally, because when used correctly, debt is not a trap. It's a tool. The third rule is buy a house as soon as possible. For decades, this was considered the ultimate financial milestone. Owning a home meant stability, success, security. But today, it's not that simple. Housing prices have increased dramatically, interest rates fluctuate, and the cost of maintaining a home is often higher than people expect. In many situations, especially early in life, renting can actually make more sense. It gives you flexibility, lower upfront costs, and the ability to move for better opportunities. Buying a home is still valuable, but only when it fits your situation, not because society says it's the next step. What works now is making a decision based on your numbers, your lifestyle, and your long-term goals, not pressure. The fourth rule is go to college and everything will work out. This used to be one of the most reliable paths. Get a degree, get a job, build a stable life. But the world has changed. Degrees are more expensive than ever. Student debt is at record levels. And having a degree no longer guarantees a high-paying job. At the same time, the internet has completely changed how people build careers. Platforms like YouTube and LinkedIn have opened new paths. Today, skills matter more than credentials. What you can do is more important than what certificate you have. This doesn't mean education is useless. It means you have to be intentional. Focus on learning skills that are valuable in the real world, skills that people are willing to pay for, because in today's economy, skills create income. The fifth rule is work one job for security. The traditional model was simple. Get a stable job, stay loyal, grow slowly, retire safely. But today, that kind of security is not guaranteed. Companies restructure, industries change, layoffs happen quickly and without warning. Depending on a single source of income is risky, even if that income feels stable right now. What works now is building multiple streams of income. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be a side skill, a small online project, freelancing, investing, something that gives you an additional source of cash flow, because when you have more than one stream, you're no longer dependent on just one, and that changes everything. The sixth rule is budget every single penny. Budgeting is often presented as the solution to all financial problems. Track everything, control everything, optimize everything. And while budgeting can be helpful, it's not the full answer. Most people don't struggle financially because they didn't track one extra coffee. They struggle because of bigger issues: low income, high fixed expenses, lack of investing. Focusing too much on small expenses can distract you from the real problem. What works now is a simpler approach. Control the big things: your housing cost, your transportation, your major recurring expenses. At the same time, focus on increasing your income and automate your savings so you don't have to rely on willpower, because wealth is built on big decisions, not small restrictions. The seventh rule is play it safe with money. Be careful sounds like good advice, and to some extent it is. But playing too safe today can actually be risky, because if your money is not growing, you're falling behind. Over time, markets tend to grow. Investments tend to increase in value. This is driven by something called compound interest. Your money earns returns, and those returns start earning returns, and over time that growth becomes powerful. But if you avoid all risk, you also avoid all growth. What works now is taking calculated risks, not reckless decisions, not blind investments, but informed choices, because avoiding risk completely is not safe anymore. It's expensive. The eighth and final rule is more income equals more wealth. This sounds logical. Earn more and you'll be richer. But in reality, this is where most people get stuck. Because as income increases, expenses increase too. You upgrade your lifestyle. Better home, better car, better experiences. And slowly your new income becomes your new normal. This is called lifestyle inflation. And it's one of the biggest reasons people never build real wealth. They earn more, but they also spend more, so they stay in the same place. What works now is controlling your lifestyle even when your income grows, because wealth is not about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep and how much you grow. The world of money has changed, but most advice hasn't caught up yet. And that's why so many people feel stuck. They're following rules that used to work, but don't anymore. The goal is not to reject all traditional advice, it's to update it, to understand what still works and what doesn't. Because once you start thinking differently about money, your results start changing too. And in today's world, that difference matters more than ever.